How you do today? My name is Rayyan. Welcome back to another Metaphoric video. Back with this series, and I'm excited, and I hope you are as well. This series is where I explore all the metaphorical psychology inside different games. Today we are looking at the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. One thing I want to mention before starting this video is that the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe is a very confusing game in terms of its story. The way this video will work is that I'm going to go through my playthrough of the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe and find metaphorical psychology that way. So we explore for every ending inside this game. First metaphor about the micro facility ending, the main ending. When we enter the facility, the narrator tells us that each employee has been monitored and controlled. The life has been controlled by somebody the whole time. However, the narrator tries to control Stanley's life by telling him which direction to go despite there being other ways. After he talks to the machine, Stanley gains his freedom. After being controlled for so many years, he finally has his life in his own hands and he's happy. This is a metaphor because we all want freedom or more free time. We want more free time to relax, go out with friends and family, or go on vacation and do stuff we enjoy. Unfortunately, we can't have freedom all the time. We should try to get more free time to balance out your life. Create a schedule and try to finish what you have to do that day as early as possible so you can have more free time. This ending also has another metaphor where the narrator talks about Stanley choosing what to do in his life, letting no one decide for him.
No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his.
Metaphor shows that people may tell you what to do in your life, but it's you who have to make the decision. So don't let anybody tell you or force you to do stuff that you don't want to do. Whatever life you want to live, let it be yours, just like the narrator says to Stanley. The next metaphor is when we enter the new content door. The narrator ends up getting disappointed by the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe and decides to go through what the original Stanley Parable was all about and its success. And showing us how amazing the game was, we end up in the Steam review section. But there are negative comments on the Stanley Parable. The user may need a cookie 9 writes that the game should have a skip button, so the narrator talks for too long, we can skip it. The narrator decides to add a skip button, but this hurts the narrator. Basically, the more time you press the skip button, the more time passes. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer.
As you can see, the more times you hit the skip button, the more time passes. This ends up becoming a bad thing for the narrator. The narrator lets these negative comments get to his head. The metaphor here is that there will always be people out there that will hate what you're doing. You can't let those negative comments get to your head. People out there will try to bring you down, but no matter what they say, you shouldn't give up on your dreams and goals. I know it hurts when people leave negative comments, but you gotta expect to have haters in your life. Sometimes people will give you advice, and you should consider that advice if it's good. Even the most famous and rich people out there have haters. Don't let the haters get to your head. Keep on going. Also, make sure to always recognize the good comments you get. Bad comments are the ones that get your attention the most, so appreciate it when someone leaves a good comment. Don't take it for granted. The next metaphor is in the skip button ending. In the skip button ending, narrator will keep talking until you press the skip button. If you don't skip, he will say some interesting stuff. At one point, he said that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us.
So that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us.
He's talking about entertainment being part of our lives, which it is. But he also talks about how it's consuming us. He says this because of the reviews he has been getting. The metaphor here is that an entertainment usually serves as a break for us, but we get too addicted to it sometimes that you cannot live without it. The best way to get over this is to try your best to avoid. Start limiting yourself on the amount of entertainment you can consume every single day. Consuming too much entertainment can make you forget what's important and what really matters in life. We should remember that next time you find yourself being lost in space. Once you complete the skip button ending and enter the new content door again, you enter at the Stanley Parable 2 showcase. The narrator then changes the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe to the Stanley Parable 2. After this, we find that there's a bucket added to the game. We pick up this bucket, and the original endings in the Stanley Parable change. Before you can understand how the new endings have metaphors, we need to understand why the Stanley Parable was created. This metaphor has to do with the narrator telling us why he created the Stanley Parable. We collect all the figurines, we get to explore the memory zone again, and we see how Stanley collected figurines. We then go back one more time where we end up at an iconic 2 doors. After that, we go through one of the 2 doors and into the office. So narrator starts thinking about what came before the office. He starts to remember why he created Stanley Parable. He created Stanley to help him make decisions about a company, but he didn't want to make decisions anymore. He decided to go on his own again and make the right decision for himself. This part of the game has two metaphors. The first metaphor is you are the one who makes decisions in your life. You can't let somebody make decisions for you. You can take advice from people, but it's you who have to make the decisions. You can't create or let somebody take those risks and see what the outcome is for you. You have to take those risks yourself and make sure that these decisions have a good outcome. Second metaphor is you cannot create somebody or something to keep you company. Company is found with people you spend time with. If you feel lonely, you don't have to create something to keep you company. You can go out and find people that will be good companion. Trust me, not all people make you feel lonely and unappreciated. Now that we understand what narrative created Stanley Parable, we can understand the metaphor, psychology, and the new endings. After the menu screen changes to the Stanley Parable 2, we get introduced to a lot of new features. One is a bucket. The bucket changes every ending inside the game, every original ending inside this game. A lot of the endings relate to each other as they represent one thing. The bucket is how the narrator sees Stanley. Since Stanley is a fictional character, the narrator might be obsessed with it, just like Stanley is with the bucket. The first new ending I'm going to discuss the micro facility ending with the bucket. The ending changes with Stanley not being able to escape because he has a bucket. The bucket could represent how the narrator sees Stanley. The narrator sees Stanley as a powerful fictional character. The narrator telling Stanley that the bucket cannot leave could be the narrator telling Stanley that he's too powerful for the story to end. The metaphor is that we might feel attached to a fictional character or item. It's okay to feel emotionally attached to a fictional character, but you shouldn't do it to a point where it's affecting your life in a bad way. You shouldn't do it to a point where you start to ignore people. Spending time with real life people other than spending time with fictional stuff is better. Make sure it doesn't affect your life in a bad way. Next ending I'm going to talk about an permanent ending with the bucket. This represents how the narrator is so obsessed with Stanley that he thinks about him everywhere he goes, even losing focus when trying to do other things. The metaphor tells us that we shouldn't be too focused on a certain thing that affects our lives. We shouldn't think about it when we are spending time with people. The ending has a short metaphor. The next ending has a metaphor, the game ending with a bucket. This ending is when the narrator asks you if this is a real bucket. This ending shows that the narrator cannot tell what is fiction or what is real. He can't tell what's important and what's not important. He might create or see something that is fiction but it feels real. Something emotionally attaches to you, you feel it's real. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to know that it's not real. It might be a great story, but it's fiction. The story that really matters is the kind of life you lived. You might rather take inspiration from these stories and implement it into your life, and that's good. That's the whole point of why I make this series. Make sure to work on your life and don't get too attached that you think everything is about that story. The next ending is rather in the confusion ending with the bucket. In this ending, it shows that the narrator family is assumed for him about Stanley. Since the narrator creates a Stanley Parable, I would have been focusing on anything else. His family might have been concerned about this affecting his life. The metaphor shows that when you start doing stuff you are passionate about, other people might be concerned that it's going to affect their relationship with you. So they find a way to let you get rid of it. This is why the narrator was saying to destroy the bucket, but the bucket which is your passion, was too powerful to destroy. Plus, he can't let go. The narrator keeps assisting Stanley to destroy the bucket. Narrator's family might be saying to the narrator that look at all the great memories we had, and if he keeps going down this path, there will be no more good memories. This relates to us because when we were younger, we had great memories. When you start working hard, there's no room to create good memories because you don't have time. So anytime when people are finally passionate about both important, and since both are important, you should try to balance out both. You shouldn't destroy your passion, nor should you destroy your relationships. You should create a schedule that makes sure you both stay alive. Next ending is the distinct ending with the bucket. This is when you go downstairs instead of going upstairs to the boss's office. This ending shows that the narrator feels that Stanley, his creation, should be with everybody. When the narrator starts talking about the story of Mariella and how Stanley was going insane because he didn't have a bucket, it shows that the narrator feels that if somebody didn't know his creation, that he isn't normal.
Knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions.
Metaphor here is when you create or see something, you might feel it's important, so important that everyone should be witness it. The truth is that not everyone is going to think and see things the way you see it. Yes, you're gonna have that set of people who will relate to you. If those other people don't relate to you, that's fine. We all think differently and we have our own interest. People will be interested in your stuff because they are into that kind of stuff. Other people won't because they don't have the same kind of interest. So you can't force someone to like something. Next ending is the museum ending with the bucket. This is when you go to the mind control facility and instead of going inside, you take a path that says escape. This leads Stanley and the bucket to a violent death. Before they are crushed, Lily speaks to us and stops the machine from crushing Stanley. He then gives a memorial of the bucket and how great it was. It shows how the narrator sees Stanley as a powerful character was more important than any other fictional character created because he created it. Metaphor here is that you might feel that you created something special. Whenever any of us create something, we feel that it should be remembered even when it's gone. The truth is that only a certain amount of people will judge what you have created. People who will judge what you have created are only people who are interested in those kind of stuff. There are a lot of people in this world with a lot of careers. Next metaphor has to do with the vet ending with the bucket. In this ending, you go to a vet at the side of the cargo lift. After that, you are greeted with a tape. This tape explains how the narrator feels about Stanley. He feels this sort of attachment to his character, and when he starts creating it, he feels some sort of emptiness. But this metaphor shows that you can be attached to a fictional character because of how good the story is. I have this feeling with many characters. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really mean that you need help or anything unless you are addicted to the story. You need to get over that addiction by trying to avoid it and do other things. I mentioned this before in another ending. The last metaphor has to do with the microcontrol facility ending with the bucket. Its ending, Stanley falls off the railing and is stuck at the bottom of the microcontrol facility. Stanley and the bucket decide to make it comfortable down there, so they set up a little home. After some time, Stanley starts to regret not following the path. He never knows what would happen if he just stayed on the path. This is a metaphor because a lot of people don't stay on the path that is best for them. Some people follow the crowd while other people don't do good stuff. When you are older and unable to try things, you will regret not following your passion, not doing good stuff. It may seem like it doesn't matter or you have a lot of time, but the truth is that you don't have a lot of time. And a lot of stuff you think doesn't matter actually does matter. You regret not spending time with people, not following your passion, not doing bad things, and wasting time doing stuff that doesn't bring any benefit to you. It is a mistake not to stick to the right path. It's going to be hard, but life won't come easy. You have to be a stronger person and stay on the right path. Try to follow your passion and goal because your future self will be proud of you. And remember, now is the time to start, not later. That was all the metaphors psychologists had at Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. There's probably some metaphors that I missed, and I know I didn't discuss all of the endings. That's because some of the endings just relate to one another, meaning that they just have the same metaphors as other endings, so it'll be just the same metaphor repeating itself. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe is a very confusing story. Hopefully y'all understand. If you don't, basically, in terms of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, the bucket that changes every ending. Basically, that's how the narrator sees Stanley. You know how Stanley sees a bucket as something powerful and special? That's how the narrator sees Stanley. The narrator sees Stanley as a powerful character, a special character. He was so obsessed with Stanley that he knows his family, knows his friends, he knows everybody in his life. He was isolated, and he created Stanley Parable because he wanted someone to take risks for him, and he wanted company. Some of the metaphors may feel like it doesn't make sense, but honestly, it does. If you go back and play the game again and get those endings, you will see what I'm talking about. It's hard to understand because the Stanley Parable is a metaphor game. It is a game that contains metaphors. It is a metaphor game actually. But it's the story that makes it hard for me to find a metaphor. So hopefully, all of you understand. Hopefully, I found all the metaphors, at least most of the metaphors. I hope you did enjoy this video. This video is gonna be me talking about my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel will be going on my life because I need to discuss about that and what kind of content I'm gonna be producing in the future. Anyways, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do like and subscribe to help support this channel. You can go check out all of my other Metaphoric videos and my playthrough to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe and the original Stanley Parable. All those links will be in the description down below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on social media. I hope all of you have a good rest of your day. Bye.